Have you ever lied? Come on, be honest. Don't worry, this is a safe space. No judgment here. If you answered yes, you're not alone. In fact, research shows that we lie all the time, whether it's something big or small. Sometimes it can even be accidental. But why do we lie? One reason could be that we want to avoid hurting someone's feelings. Maybe your friend asks you if she looks fat in a certain dress. Even though you think it looks great on her, you say, maybe not so sure because you don't want to hurt her feelings. Or maybe your boss asks you if you finished that project when really you are still working on it. You reply, yeah, almost done, because you don't want to disappoint him. These are what we call white lies or lies by omission. You left out the truth, but you didn't exactly lie either. So is lying always wrong? Does it always come from a bad place? Before we get into that, let's start with the basics. What actually is a lie? A lie is when you intentionally try to make someone believe something that isn't true. And deception is when you leave out important information. This can be intentional or unintentional. In general, there are two kinds of lies. The first one is a lie by commission, which is when you directly say something that is not true. For example, saying, I hate broccoli, when you actually love it. The second kind of lie is a lie by omission, which is when you leave out important information. For example, not telling your mom that you stayed out past curfew because you know she would be angry. Both of these lies are intentional, but sometimes we can mislead people without even realizing it. Let's take the example of the broken vase. Imagine you accidentally broke your mom's favorite vase, but you didn't mean to. You just wanted to get closer to look at it. But now it's shattered into pieces on the floor and you're scared of getting in trouble. So you clean up the mess and hope your mom doesn't notice. Is this a lie? You didn't say anything, but you didn't really have to. Your mom will probably assume someone broke it on purpose. So by not telling the truth, you've basically lied by omission. Research suggests that we engage in deception all the time. One study found that people lie an average of about 1 to 2 times per week. And another study found that people tell roughly 1 white lie every day. But how many lies do we tell in our lifetime? Well, one researcher estimated that the average person tells around 100,000 lies in their lifetime. That's a lot of lies. But the good news is that most of them are relatively harmless. In fact, sometimes they can even be helpful. For example, if your friend asks you if you like her new haircut, and you don't really like it, you might lie and say that you do because you don't want to hurt her feelings. In this case, you're engaging in what's called a pro-social lie, which is a lie that is intended to benefit someone else. These can be helpful because they can keep the peace and maintain harmony in relationships. For example, if you're at a party and you don't like the food, you might lie and say that it's delicious. This will make the host happy because they want their guests to enjoy their party. But sometimes we lie for more selfish reasons. Let's say you're late to work again, but your boss asks you, "Everything okay?" You reply, "Yep, just running a few minutes behind," when really you overslept and started your day late. In this case, you're lying to avoid negative consequences. This is called self-serving deception. So why do we do this? Well, sometimes it can be easier than telling the truth. Let's say you didn't finish that project your boss asked you to do. He might get mad at you if you tell him the truth. But when you lie and say that you're almost done, he might be more understanding. Sometimes we also lie to protect our relationships. Let's say your friend asks you if she looks fat in a certain dress. If you tell her the truth, you might hurt her feelings. But if you lie and say that she looks great, she'll probably feel better. Sometimes we lie for more serious reasons. Let's say you're in high school and you're being bullied. If your parents ask you what happened, you might lie and say that everything's fine, when really you're being treated badly by your peers. In this case, you're lying to protect yourself. And sometimes we lie to protect other people. Let's say you see a classmate cheating on a test. If the teacher asks you what you saw, you might lie and say that you didn't see anything. This is called altruistic deception. So is lying ever justified? Well, it depends on who you ask. Some people believe that lying is never justified, no matter what the reason. They believe that lying is always wrong because it involves deception, and deception is a violation of trust. Once trust is broken, it can be difficult to repair. Lying can also lead to further deception. For example, if you lie to cover up your first lie, you might end up in a tangled web of lies that is hard to escape from. Plus, lying can damage relationships. When someone finds out that you lied to them, they might feel betrayed and angry. This can cause them to push you away, which can lead to social isolation. Other people believe that lying can be justified in certain circumstances. For example, if someone is trying to harm themselves, it might be okay to lie to them in order to protect them. Or if someone is in danger, it might be justified to lie to them in order to keep them safe. In general, people tend to agree that lies that are intended to protect someone from harm or danger are more acceptable than other lies. Psychologists have also come up with different ways to explain why we lie. According to one theory, we lie because we want to maintain a positive self-image. Let's say you're a high school student and you get a bad grade on a test. You might lie to your friends and say that you got a good grade because you do not want them to think that you're stupid. Another theory suggests that we lie to protect our relationships. As mentioned earlier, if your friend asks you if she looks fat in a certain dress, you might lie and say that she looks great because you don't want to hurt her feelings. According to another theory, we lie to achieve our goals. Let's say you're applying for a job and you don't have much experience. You might lie on your resume and say that you have more experience than you actually do because you want to get the job. Finally, we sometimes lie because we're simply not very good at telling the truth. Telling the truth can be difficult, especially when it goes against our own self-interest. In these cases, we might unintentionally mislead others without even realizing it. So, is lying always wrong? Well, it depends on who you ask. Some people believe that lying is never justified, no matter what the reason. Others believe that lying can be justified in certain circumstances. Psychologists have also come up with different theories to explain why we lie. One theory suggests that we lie because we want to maintain a positive self-image. Another theory suggests that we lie to protect our relationships. A third theory suggests that we lie to achieve our goals. And finally, we sometimes lie simply because we're not very good at telling the truth. What do you think? Is lying always wrong? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time. There's been a huge decline in mental health around the world, which is why we're so committed to creating more content than we ever have. Thanks so much for being a part of our journey.